Okay, question number 7. Using Exhibit 002 WPS, is it acceptable if welding is stopped for the day if pressure piping is the welding application on the flat side joint between markers 4 and 6 for a 4-inch Schedule 80 pipe? Answers: A. No, the weld does not meet the minimum requirements of the Book of Specifications for welds to be interrupted during fabrications. B. Yes, if the minimum preheat requirement was achieved and maintained during welding the previous passes. C. Yes, if as long as the weld is wrapped with insulating blankets. D. Yes, as long as FCAW was used. So we're going to have our pipe mold replica, and we're going to have it says flat side between markers 4 and 6. 4 and 6. And it's talking about the welding stop for the day, so we're going to do it on the top, not the root. It doesn't mention anything about root. And it's talking about pressure piping for book specifications. Pressure piping, page 13. Okay, so where on it does it talk about starting and stopping? So not there, internal misalignment, edge preparation, surface welding clean, stopping and starting end of tack welds. There. After welding commences, the minimum preheat temperature should be maintained until the joint is completed. However, welding may be interrupted and the joint allowed to go slowly provided a minimum of 3/8 inch thickness of weld is deposited or 25% of the groove is filled, whichever is less. So 3/8 inches, that's a lot of weld metal just for like the minimum. That would mean that our pipe wall thickness would have to be 1.5 inches. And our pipe replica, that's definitely not 1.5 inches wall thickness. So we have to go by whichever is less. So we need to know that 25% of the groove has been filled. So the question's asking us between markers 4 and 6. So we know that some weld has been placed. Otherwise this would be see-through, right? So we need to know how much has been placed in here. And we need to know how much weld is missing. Now remember, our weld size is going to be the size of the wall thickness. So we're going to get our VWAC. And here I have it written down. Pressure piping, weld is missing. What is there? Whatever is there should be 3/8 or 25%. How do we figure that out? Okay, so we need to know our wall thickness. The question gave us a 4-inch Schedule 80 pipe. The question gave us a 4-inch Schedule 80 pipe, so we're going to go to page 47, which has our pipe schedules. 4-inch Schedule 80 pipe is 0.337. That's the nominal wall thickness. 0.337. So now that we know the thickness of the wall, we can figure out portion missing by using the formula of undercut. Because remember, undercut, this formula of undercut is always done to see how much weld is missing. Because in undercut, you're missing weld. So U undercut divided by thickness of wall times 100 will tell me the percentage missing. So well, we're gonna get that undercut or size of weld missing. I get the VWAC, and between markers 4 and 6, we want to go to the lowest. The lowest. So this is 4. 4. Does it go any lower? Like as you can see, closer to the 6, it's like the lowest part, the most missing. I get, I would say I am at, so this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'd say I'm like at 7:30 seconds. So I want 7:30 seconds on my VWAC. Now I'm gonna insert it. That's my undercut, remember, because that's how much is missing. 7:30 seconds divided by thickness of wall times 100. Let's do that. here. So 30 seconds divided by 0.337, our nominal wall thickness, equals that times 100 equals 64.9. Since we're doing percentages, we want to round up. So we'll leave it at 65%. So 65% is missing. In order to have 100% completed, we should see how much has been deposited, because we know this is missing. So 100 minus 65 is 35. 35% is already there. And our rule was, I believe it said 25% should be there. So that's 415. Yeah. Thickness of weld is deposited, or 25% of the groove is filled. So we have 35. We have way over 25%. So number 7, no, the weld does not meet the minimum requirements of the book of specifications. Well, it does, because we passed the 25. Yes, if as long as the weld is wrapped with insulating blankets. Pressure piping is only 2 pages. It's just 1 page front and back. Nowhere on here does it say anything about insulating blankets. Especially not in the part about starting and stopping heating. Nowhere does it say anything about flux cord only or a specific process. So my best answer is yes, if the minimum preheat requirement was achieved and maintained during the welding previous passes. So I think that's when our WPS comes into play. Told us about, so preheat, so 50, and then it stayed at 50. So it did stay, if the minimum preheat requirement was achieved and maintained, it did stay at 50 and maintained at 50. And it was more than 25% deposited. It was 35% deposited. So B is the correct answer.